Overpromised with Camino and Rich.
All right, welcome to Overpromised, our bonus pod, episode 89. Again, we're Cavino and Rich, Fox Sports Radio, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 on the East, 2 to 4 on the West. This is the stuff we can't fit into our show. We only have 2 hours of greatness. So when we have a guest, we have to bring him on to Overpromised.
Let's do it. And this is a guy, I feel like I know this guy, but this is my first time meeting him.
Same.
See him every day of my life, scrolling. From Barstool, Kevin Clancy, KFC. What's up, my friends?
It's funny how often I get that. I get a lot of people saying, like, I feel like I know you, or I say that you're my friend and I've never met you before. So I appreciate that, though. It means everyone's watching and paying attention. So thank you, man.
It's the truth. We get more content, more how do you do's, more feedback from you than we get our own friends. You know, I'm there on the bowl scrolling, and there's Kevin Clancy, and I'm like, wow, man. And you're always on top of shit too. It's like, damn, he never stops. So thank you for being here.
Well, hold on. Before you get to KFC here, you are more of a Jack Mack guy.
I am a Jack Mack guy.
You son of a bitch. I'm out.
You know what? I do. And I've been telling Rich, I'm like, Jack Mack's the guy, dude. I don't know him personally, but I love his content. I love your content too. But Jack Mack's my guy. Is he your guy, or who's your guy at Barstool, man?
I'm more of a Rich guy than a Cavino guy. That's what has there.
I mean,
I don't blame you. You guys got your Mets bond, and we'll talk about them in a minute.
Yeah, no, Jack's awesome, man. Jack, so, I mean, when I started Barstool, I started the New York branch of Barstool, and at that point, it was just a blog. It was just writing. And I view what I do now on Instagram and YouTube as just video blogs. Like, I know the term vlog is out there, but I believe these are true vlogs in the sense it's the same topics and the same jokes and the same take. I'm just saying it now rather than writing it. And when I started it, seen a pretty good deal of success. And I kind of told everybody at the company, I was like, you all should do this. This is just the new way to blog. And Jack Mack has really been the only one that took it and ran with it as well. I kind of, I make my bones on the Instagram side. He crushes the TikTok side. It drives me crazy how many followers he has.
Right? That's funny you would say that because I'm more of an Instagram guy. Hence, I'm a KFC guy, and Cavino's TikTok boy.
Yeah, I guess I'm TikTok boy.
It's like WWF, WCW back in the day, which Monday night show where you're watching. But he is smoking it on TikTok. He's doing a great job.
Now, before we talk baseball, we're all baseball fans. Baseball's popping, right? We've been doing this a long time, and it's been cool to see you just explode through that time. But I don't know a lot of the backstory. So, again, thanks for giving us that New York scoop. Portnoy always talks about he was a Triple Crown winner in high school baseball. I know you're a big basketball guy, so this is your chance to brag a little bit. What's your impressive stat? How good were you? Were you a good athlete growing up, or were you always just a fan?
I mean, I played sports growing up.
Right.
I would not, I don't have a claim to fame. I don't have faster hands than Delano DeShields, like Dave would say. My claim to fame is I was the captain of my basketball team in high school.
Okay.
We were 2-18. As I was captain. So that to give you a feel for what kind of team it was. So that's probably where I peaked in like 5th and 6th grade little league. I was like hitting bombs, and then in basketball I was like a little bit bigger. And then once everyone was athletic, big, strong, could throw breaking balls, all like it all went to shit after that.
Well, because if you got a little taste of puberty before you went to the big baseball field, that's when you were hitting bombs. That's when you had the opportunity.
That was me. I stopped growing after 12, but I was hitting bombs in Little League. That was it. And again, as far as backstory, people always ask Rich and I, how'd you meet, man? You guys been working together so long. You and Portnoy, all these guys go so far back. How did you meet? Tell us the story. I want to hear the story. Like, what was the encounter?
It's all work and content related. So I came out of school. I got my MBA. I was an accountant. I was doing the finance world. And once I got to work, and I was so miserable working like a cube job, there was a guy there who gave me a list of websites. Like, here's, kill time reading these blogs, and Barstool was one of them. So I found Barstool as a fan. I was reading that, really enjoyed it, started my own website, in a very similar vein as Barstool. Was like pop culture, sports. Mine also added like a mix of like 90s nostalgia and like movies and stuff like that. And so I was doing that just for fun. I just needed like a creative outlet. And while I was doing that, he put up a post being like, I'm looking to expand out of Boston. Like, I've conquered Boston. We want writers from different cities. And the first one I'm looking for is New York. So at that point, I had a good job. I hated it, but it paid well. It was safe, all that shit. And some of my friends were like, you got to throw your name in the ring here. And I was like, let me see what happens. I sent it to him, and he said something to the effect of like, I've already seen this. Someone's already sent me this and told me to keep an eye on this. So he was already reading it, and it kind of went from there. He narrowed it down. We kind of did like an audition to get the New York job, and he narrowed it down to me and one other guy. He couldn't decide between us, and he said, how about you guys split the job, split the money, split the writing, and you can keep your old job, which for me was perfect. I didn't have to make a jump. I didn't have to risk anything. And then, so I did both jobs for a couple of years. And then once Barstool really started to take off, I made the jump full time. But as far as like meeting Dave, it was really just through the internet. I mean, I think once I took the job, I made a trip up to Boston, and we like went to dinner and met. But a lot of it was just internet nerd stuff. Like, you blog, I blog,
right?
Like,
you like sports, and you clicked, and that was what, around 09, I guess, right? Early 2000s.
09 was when I started New York, and it was funny because it was like it was almost like we were reverse. Like, I'm the Irish guy in New York, he's the Jewish guy in Boston.
Right.
Like, we were, all his teams won, all my teams lost. So there was this like, mirror image of each other that I think worked really well early on, me versus him. And then obviously he's, gone on to a whole other level. But, we were the first expansion city. And I think we did a good job of showing Dave that like this worked. I
hell yeah.
He would have just packed up and been like, let's just go back to Boston. But that led to Philly, and then Baltimore, and eventually Chicago. And, that was kind of when the empire started to explode.
Awesome.
KFC, talking about the OGs, like you and Dave and Big Cat. I couldn't fucking believe the pull of the Jordan card. Did you see that like before everyone else did? That's unbelievable.
I'm surprised that you're surprised because, there's certain guys. Dave, certainly. I've had a long running series called Dave Portnoy Has Sold His Soul to the Devil, because it's just like the amount of stuff. He's very talented, very funny, works hard, all that shit. But the amount of stuff that just fell into his lap. Like, if Boston doesn't have this dynasty,
right.
the exact Dave, first of all, Dave goes to Michigan, same class as Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady takes over Boston. The Red Sox break the curse. The Bruins win the cup. The big three Celtics win a title. And all of Barstool's rise coincides perfectly with Titletown, where it just made everything possible. And then Dan is, right behind Dave as another one of these guys who's just, absolutely taken over. So, yeah, I'm like, those guys should play the lottery every day, because they're gonna pull the Jordan rookie cards. Like, that doesn't
unreal.
One thing.
It's a perfect storm of awesome. But you know what? I like you, KFC. I feel like you're more relatable. I really do. As a result.
That's in this internet world, I feel like you either got to be like really funny, really talented, really relatable. You got to have one of those things going for you, and that's always kind of what the everyman sort of thing.
And I always say a Mets fan, if you're a Mets fan, it means you have good character. It means you're a nice, loyal, and humble guy. You know what it's like to lose. And that's why I teamed up with this dude, because he's a Mets guy, and I know you're a big-time Mets guy.
KFC, I want to know your take on our bet this year. Covino and I decided to do better regular season record, $1,000, and then for each game differential, $100. So let's say the Mets have a 4-game better record than the Yanks. That's $1,400. Is this a good bet for me or not?
I think, the AL is just so bad.
Yeah.
But once prior to injuries, I would have said that's not a great bet. But the way the Mets have started, the way the Yankees have got injured, I think that's going to be a solid bet. I don't know. I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a huge differential for either, whoever ends up winning. But I think the way the Mets are playing, they're only going to get stronger. The AL being bad is kind of an X factor there, but I think you're both, that's going to be a coin flip when it comes down to it.
I think you nailed it. It's going to be close, but the difference is how stacked the NL is, which is a shock when you think about, for me, I'm an AL kid growing up. I'm a Yankees fan, right? The NL growing up, I always thought was so boring, dude. And now the NL's so exciting with the Padres and the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Mets. It's insane.
You said it. Baseball's fun. Like you said, the way Disney went through their fucking renaissance in the 90s. Baseball right now,
it's
the
having
stars
a
in baseball, it's back right now. And I'm a big Lindor guy. I can't believe the way Pete Alonso is playing. The thought of us so willy-nilly almost let him go.
I was never on that train, man. I know he never, recaptured what he put up as a rookie. He was declining. There was some issues, but like he's going to be your all-time leader in home runs.
Yeah.
He's going to put up, at least 30 bombs a year for a franchise that really has never had that.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's a couple guys here and there. People were turning their nose up at him like he was some scrub. I was like, are we talking about the same guy
I
here?
couldn't understand it. It's, like
It was a negotiating tactic, I think, to downplay his value because he's such a great Met.
Well, we were talking on Fox Sports Radio when we were filling in for Dan Patrick this morning about how Nico Harrison said, I didn't know the fans cared.
Oh God, how crazy was that? How crazy was that?
I think Steve Cohen is really in touch with the fans, but I don't think they realized how much Met fans like Pete Alonso.
Well, but I also on there, I think a couple things happened. One, they came out of the Soto negotiation.
Yeah.
I think they had Boris fatigue. I think that was, they were sick of dealing with him. And for whatever reason, as I understand it from what I've heard on like insiders, like there was truly no market for him, which I just can't believe that
right.
the Rockies or the Twins or somebody who can just throw out, a contract but when there's nobody bidding, like, why are you going to bid against yourself? I didn't like how it drew out and it kind of like made him look like a chump, but I don't know. At the end of the day, also, it's like, he makes $30 million.
Yeah, it's not like fucking chump change.
It's not like he ended up signing like a veteran minimum, and I'm sure he's playing his way into a ton of money right now. And I can't decide whether I'm so happy for him. It's great for the team. I'm sure there's parts of him that's like, fuck yeah, like I'm showing you guys. And then there's also parts that he must be like, why couldn't I just do this 8 months ago? God damn it.
Exactly. I got one less Mets thing, and we'll fucking get off the Mets.
I love your Mets love.
But I got to ask you, Gary Vaynerchuk always talks about how you love losing. I love losing. He's a Jets guy.
I'm talking questions?
I love losing.
It's funny. I just had him in the studio today.
Gary's such a great. We've known Gary for years, and I've asked him about this. What if the Jets were to win? I think about that for guys like you and me at KFC. If the Mets were to win, does it? Listen, I want it more than anything. But then what? Almost.
Let's find out. Let's figure it out together, bro.
Dude, you guys were little kids in diapers the last time they won.
I was one.
Yeah.
I was 8 months old. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know anything about that. I cannot even fathom a world. I don't know what it would be like. I think I'm the only person at Barstool of note, of the major bloggers and podcasters that has never won a championship. So I've never professionally had the moment to celebrate. I've never had the family moment with my mom. I've never had the friends moment. I look at I always talk about Feidelberg. My co-host Feidelberg won as a middle schooler, a high schooler, a college kid, post-college, professionally, every walk of life he's gotten to do. I was drunk at the parade, or I'm with my old man, and he's done every version of it. I've never even done one. I don't even think about it. I watch every day. I watch every year. I hope for it, but I don't ever, there are people right now who are like, this is our year. I'm like, oh man. I cannot declare anything like that. I'm just trying to make it to the playoffs back-to-back seasons.
Yeah, but that's what makes it sweeter, though, when you finally win.
As a Mets fan, we got to go back to 99, 2000. I don't count that 2016 game back-to-back. That's bullshit. So back-to-back is a victory. We're going to talk
about the division, just being, any sort of consistent. I think that's what they're building now, so I'm happy about that.
My daughter, I know you got kids. My daughter is 7, and she's like, Dad, when was the last time the Mets won the championship? And I'm like, buddy, it's fucking been a long time. And here's a question for you, being, you're a New Yorker. I'm out here in LA. All my kids' friends are Dodgers fans. My daughter went to Hello Kitty night the other night with her friends and came back with a Dodgers hat.
Didn't Shohei hit a bomb that night?
Shohei hit a bomb.
Yeah.
And my kids
this is how it happens. All of a sudden you got a Dodgers fan in your house.
My kids are like, Dad, we like the Mets, but is it okay if we like the Dodgers too? My son is 5 and he's like, Dad, I like Lindor and Ohtani. I'm like, I don't know.
You can't. I mean, I kind of had a rule. I really went through a mental when I first had kids, I was like, I truly don't know if I'm going to put this on them.
Yeah.
Because it was like prior to Cohen and the Jets are the Jets. And I was like, I don't, I know we all say it builds character and it's going to be sweeter when it finally happens, but like it sucks. And it sucks for 35 years of my life. And I was thinking like, maybe I'm not going to put this on them. I just kind of had one rule in my mind. I was like, you just can't be a Yankees fan. You can't be a Patriots fan. Everyone else, like, go ahead.
Right.
But then once you start, once they become of age to really know what's going on, but like the Dodgers wouldn't bother me except for the fact that like they're the team we have to get over the hump right now, But if they wanted to be a fan of like another team that's on the West Coast or in the AL or whatever.
Like the Angels, like fine, love the
Angels.
Yes,
right.
Sure.
Yeah. Root for Mike Trout, but like that doesn't affect me in any way. But it is interesting to like, I don't want to curse you with this life, man.
Baseball's popping.
Hopefully it's different though. Hopefully for them, it's like if Steve Cohen turns this thing around, they grow up like we've known nothing but winning. But a long way to go before we can cross that.
Which helps with the confidence a little bit. Yeah. Seriously. Before you get into coaching kids, I know you have a question, Rich. I did want to ask you the age-old debate that we have all the time as a Yankees and Mets fan. Keith Hernandez or Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly, and why? Were you a big Keith kid growing up?
I mean, it's funny, again, I was so young in the 80s that like I think of Keith. I'm a big Keith guy in the booth. You know? I've seen his highlights. I know what he meant. He was awesome. Everyone from that 86 team in the 80s was like, baseball lore. But I think of him as just like this unbelievable, hilarious, ridiculous broadcaster. As far as baseball goes, I mean, they're actually probably very comparable. I feel like Keith's glove was like out of this world.
Yeah. Oh my God. So comparable. Yeah. He had 11 gold gloves. Mattingly had 9, right?
Yeah.
They go back and forth.
Yeah. And like Mattingly, I hate every Yankee with like the fire of 1,000 suns because Mattingly missed the dynasty, like just missed it, again, and then he retires right before 96. I don't hate him as much, so I'm like, it's one guy I could maybe give some props to. The rest of them I hate with every fiber of my being.
It's so crazy how close their stats are, though. Like, they're dead even.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yo, Kevin, we follow you. We love what you do. I want to talk about your new alcohol in a second because that's pretty fucking cool. I'm a big fan of what you're doing there.
Bean.
But I got to ask you about the kids' sports scene because, like I said, I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. I see your beautiful daughter and your son. You're involved. The time it takes, the commitment, the traveling, everything involved. And I saw you had your kid, he played up a level and he finally got his first double. I saw that clip. Like talk about the emotions of fucking not only parenting and coaching. It's a trip, huh?
Dude, it means more to me than I think to them. They're just like having fun and they're doing their activities. And I'm like on the sidelines dying of I'm so nervous, the ups and downs. I've learned a few things. The baseball team he plays for is the Westchester Giants. They are unbelievable. Like they have this indoor facility that they can go to and these professional coaches and they win championships. They have 3 different alternate uniforms and like all this great walk-up music, the whole 9, right? And you would think, at least I thought, those are going to be the teams that they take it too seriously and that the coaches are crazy and that it's not fun. And I've learned it's the total opposite. Those guys are awesome and they take it like appropriately serious, but they're also having a good time and they're teaching. It's like the rec dads and the families of the other teams that I find to be way worse, where there are people taking it too serious. We were playing flag football against a guy the other day. He was making a kid play in a boot. Like I was like, you're gonna do like irreparable damage to this guy, and he's grabbing another kid by the back of his neck, and like I was like, this, I cannot stand the people who get too serious about it. But then there are moments where I'm like ready to argue with an umpire, or I'm like, I'm like, all right, gotta relax, gotta calm.
The parents are always the problem. Do you ever get any flack from the opposing parents because they know who you are? They watch your videos. Do you get any people coming up to you about that?
I'll tell you. So my daughter plays on a basketball team. My daughter was like a gymnastics, dance kind of girl. Like she was doing the quote unquote girl sports, if you will. And then she was like, I want to play hoops. And I was like, let's do it. She turns out to be like great at basketball. joins the CYO team, and there's this girl. Her name's Isabella. I think she might legitimately be the best third grade basketball player in the state.
Nice.
She plays for the Gauchos with the boys. She plays AAU Gaucho boys with the boys. So she's like lights out. And I made a video about her. They won the championship. She had like 25 points in the championship. It's like dribbling through the legs, behind the back. It's like watching an N1 tour. And I made a video about her. And we had a game the other day. And as we walked in, an opposing mom like noticed me and said, that's number 12. And that was the girl I was talking about. She goes, number 12, huh? And I was like, yeah, it's kind of weird. And she goes, we're coming for you. And I just went like, see how that goes. And we blew their doors off. We won like 22-4 or whatever it was.
Nice.
So that's the only time I've really had anybody. But it's always a little dicey. Like my daughter is on a dance team. And
she got robbed. She got robbed recently. I saw that.
Did, dude. That was the most I've ever been. Dude, the girl who won, all the girls who won, their mom was running the talent show. And I was like, this is a little crazy. But the dance team does this, you got to go door to door and sell popcorn to raise money. And it was like a lot of, they were asking for like $1,000. It wasn't like chump change. And I made a video being like, I kind of hate this fundraising stuff. And that made its way back to the dance teacher. And I get a text being like, you don't have to participate. You can just write a check. And I was like, all right, I'm sorry. I'm just being an idiot. I'm an asshole on the internet. That's what I do to make money. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there are times I'm like, if I forget when we say parents could hear. That's another thing.
I know.
Yo, one last thing about the kids coaching. You said the walk-up music, the nice fields. I'm the coach, so I'm the guy dragging the field, lining it ahead of time. And someone's like, "Who did that when you were a kid?" I'm like, "I think we just played on shitty fields."
Well,
like I don't remember
a little bit of that. Yeah.
I don't want to sound like an old guy, but I mean, like I don't remember like a dad raking the field like we're at Chase Stadium or something.
Was you playing the Sandlot? Was it the spare tire for second base?
You remember someone lining the field? The chalk was like maybe a month ago when I played. Like,
do you remember like my teams used to have like a bag of bats that were just like a hunk of metal.
Yeah, they were bats from the 70s.
Yeah, with just like a regular like rubber
rubber handle. Yeah,
rubber. Yes. And now these kids they have like legitimately $400 bats. I'm like, you guys, you don't even know what balls and strikes are yet. You're swinging a $500 bat. It's insane.
It's so funny you would say that because when they say each kid should bring their own bat, I'm like, when I was a kid, I don't think I had my own bat. I just used like the team bat, like your own bat.
I remember I actually bought it on eBay last month. I have a core memory of, we were at like the sporting goods store. There was this beautiful graphite Easton bat. It was black and blue and I wanted it. And my mom was like, no, it's too expensive. We're not going to get it. I went home all disappointed. The next day I come home from school and she had bought it for me. And it's like seared into my mind. I found it on eBay and I bought it just to have it. But that was like, when I got my own bat, it was like a thing because I was using the hunk of metal that the team provides.
Exactly.
Now it's like kids have their batting practice bat, their game bat, their tournament bat. I'm like,
you're so right.
Their torpedo bat.
Again, not to sound like old guys, but even like my 5-year-old son has a home and away jersey and a warm-up jersey. 3.
I know.
5 years old.
And that's just a racket. That's just a reason.
Yeah, and we had jerseys.
The team that does that, I'm like, I get the value back because they really are good coaches and all that. So that I don't mind. It's the other shit that drives me crazy.
Speaking of bats, and by the way, I had the Easton Big Barrel and the Black Magic and all those.
Yeah, you peaked at 12 though.
Yeah, I peaked at 12. Yeah, I was hitting bombs with those. Hey, is Portnoy serious about the torpedo bats? Have you talked to him about this? Do you think they're illegal? Like, why does he? Why is he doubling down?
Hard on for this one.
He's got such a heart. Like, I love his stuff and everything he talks about. That's the one thing I'm like, is he serious about this?
Well, there's two things, and I'm in the same boat with this first one.
Okay.
The Yankees did it first.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it.
I mean, if the Twins did it, I wouldn't give a shit. The Yankees do it first. I hate you and your Tigers. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And the second thing is he does love his high school career, his Triple Crown. And so this was posed as like Jazz Chisholm needs this because he's getting sawed off because he doesn't have fast enough hands. And he's like, I wouldn't need that. Right. I'm a star. So that's it. It always goes back to ego with Dave. That's all that is.
And to tie it all together, that's why Keith is better than Don Mattingly, because he calls him Chaz Jisms all the time. He always mispronounces it.
I know. Hey, we're here with Kevin Clancy, KFC, the 1 Minute Man, and one of my favorite things that you do is your conspiracy stuff. Get your tinfoil hat. Let's do this.
Let's go.
I really do. I love it, man. I get so excited when it's something different. I'm like, all right, let's get into it because I love it and I want to believe too.
You fucking had me on the pyramids, bro.
Yeah.
You had me on the pyramids.
Dude, you had everybody. And you you took it back, and I was like, oh man, I went and told everybody because of you. So I want to talk about that.
I had to own that one. I was like,
You
yep,
did.
there's a lot of people out there talking about what's beneath the pyramids because of me, and apparently it's all bullshit.
Dude, I'm like, it's
I
true.
still believe it. I
still believe it. Now I heard there's Toblerone under there. I don't know what's going on. So I want to know your thoughts about that when it's wrong or when you give false information. And your favorite conspiracy, man, like your favorite, and like how much fun do you have doing that? Tell us about it.
The thing about it is like, obviously a lot of them are tongue in cheek, but I
Right.
always like kind of believe
Same.
a little bit,
Right.
you know, like some of these things are silly, but I'm like, it could be, you know, I believe. And the thing about them is once they're crazy conspiracies until these things get proven true. And then you're like, oh yeah. So there've been, you know, Epstein and MK Ultra. There's things that were totally far-fetched that just became true. So you never really know. As far as the misinformation stuff, like I don't ever purport myself to be a journalist. So when I'm wrong, I'm just like, you idiots believed me. Well, I'm literally wearing a tinfoil hat. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but we've all been there. I mean, Cavito, we bust his balls still to this day. He came in one day and he's like, bro, there's a guy that can run on water. It's called liquid engineering.
No, liquid mountaineering, wasn't it? I forget.
It was a fucking fake thing. It was a guy running across a lake. And I'm like, are you out of your mind?
I was like, they invented these shoes. I swear to God, I can't believe that I actually believed it. But, you know, sometimes you're just in the moment, you get got, and dude, you had us with the pyramids. I was so pumped about it.
They had me. I'm like, kind of mad. It's like, so you're just telling me that was totally made up? Like,
I loved it.
I still think now that I have a conspiracy that the people disproving it they're the ones lying. So I'm going in circles over here.
Nice.
Now, the most, like, this is not mine by any means. Many people have thought about this, but you know, did we land on the moon or not is a big one. And I used to kind of beat that drum. And there's a couple other theories. The moon is a hollow sphere. That's a spaceship, all these crazy things. And there was a time where I was really, you know, sometimes believing it, sometimes making fun of it, but I was talking about him a lot. And this is back when we had a Sirius channel, and we got offered to interview the last astronaut who ever walked on the moon. And I love space and all this shit. So I was like, definitely going to do the interview, but I also have been this anti-moon landing guy. So I couldn't just pretend I wasn't.
Right.
So I just casually was like, so what would you say to someone who might think that was fake? And he was like, I would say that you're the dumbest person alive if you ever did that. And I was like, yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Yo, KFC, Kevin Clancy, we're big fans of what you do. Hashtag 3Bean Gang. You know,
here it is.
Let me tell you, let's see what we got going on here. I'm a big fan of what you do, and I love how all your fans and supporters tag you every time they're having a cocktail with their wife or girlfriend. It's great.
Yeah, man. This is the espresso martini. I've been drinking espresso martinis since probably when I was starting Barstool, like 2009, 2010. At that point, it was not a popular drink. It was kind of, it still is to this day, but at that point, it was a really girly drink. It was hard to find. Bartenders wouldn't know how to make it. They didn't have an espresso machine, all this stuff. And I loved it. And the few people out there who also loved it, it was kind of like our, you know, little badge of honor, our little club, the 3Bean Gang. You always put these 3 coffee beans in as a garnish. It means health, wealth, and happiness. It's a toast you do. And so for the last 10 years, it was really just, you know, take pictures of your martini, send it to me, use the hashtag. I never really planned on doing anything, but then the drink became so popular. I got approached by Sazerac, who's like an alcohol distributor. These guys are like literally chemical engineers who came up with this all pre-bottled, ready to drink. And you shake it up in a shaker, and it, like, the thing about the martinis, you need like the foam. It's got to have the froth and all that. And you could never make that at home. That you needed that, you know, at a bartender or a restaurant would do that for you. So now I'm a big homebody. I like to be on the couch. I like watching the ball game. I like to be here. And now I can have my favorite cocktail with this Midnight Bean. It has the right flavor. It has the right, you know, consistency. $19.99 a bottle. It's like, you know, the cost of one martini.
How do you beat that?
That's awesome, man.
When we first went down the road, I was like, this is just going to be a higher end alcohol. And it is what it is. It's going to be like an $89 bottle because you're thinking you're getting like 4 or 5 martinis. That's like $100.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to get killed by it, but like the people who like it are going to like it. And then they were like, I was like, you know, we go through it all. It tastes great, looks great. I was like, what's the damage? And they were like $19.99. And I was like, American dollars? What? Like, that's it? So It's rolling out now. It will be available coast to coast in pretty much all liquor stores, restaurants, bars that want it. So I'm at the phase right now of trying to garner up the hype for people to ask for it if they don't have it at your local spots, to ask them to stock it. And the way it works is, state by state, it kind of gets approved, and eventually it'll be a widespread nationwide release. So we're in the process of really getting it out there. Midnight Bean is, I think, for espresso martini drinkers, it is. I wouldn't do it. I'm at the point in my career, I don't really endorse anything that I don't really mean.
Yeah.
And so, like, it tastes right, it looks right, it's all good. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it. It's my first alcohol that I put my name on, really, and I think it's going to be a hit.
Well, dude, congrats on that. How cool is that?
First
man?
of all, ask your liquor store about this.
Yeah, I want it. We got that fight night coming up. We were just talking about
May 2nd.
May 2nd, man. Can we get a bottle by May 2nd?
Well, let's find it.
Send me the address. I'll send you guys. We're sending out these influencer packs with a shaker and a couple accessories. I'd love to hook you guys up.
I love it, man. And congrats on that. So cool.
That's got to be a cool thing for you also, just because, you've accomplished a hell of a lot, Kevin. But to be I haven't. I decided I drink this drink, and now I bottled it and I teamed up. That's fucking cool, no?
Yeah, and we've done we've endured, we've had ad reads for other alcohols and whatever, and some of them, like a nice whiskey was a good fit. We also did a kind of a Four Loko drink, Pirate Water, was not a good fit. And now I'm like, this is the one. This is my cocktail. And I know it's kind of been a thing with celebrity alcohol has gone crazy over the last few years, but
there's a market for spirits, man. Hopefully this is your Portnoy High Noon.
God willing, bro.
Yeah. Hey, dude, we're all behind it. I love me some espresso martini. Let's do it. I would love to get my hands on that. And real quick question: growing up, what was your go-to cheap ass drink you used to drink growing up?
I grew up in Westchester, which was the underage drinking capital of the world.
Right.
So we used to get, I would probably say some Steel Reserve, some St. Ides, malt liquor.
Oh, yeah.
22s. Those were, I remember one time we got stopped. We were walking through the streets, we were probably going to a woods party in my town. And this cop saw us holding, 6-packs and whatever. And they stole the beer. They pulled us over. They pulled over and, read us the riot act, stole the beer. And to go to the party, we had to walk past the police station afterwards. So they saw us come by again. Oh. And they held up the Steel Reserve and they were like, stop drinking this shit.
Yeah,
they thought they were going to steal, let's go have a couple, beers from the kids. And they were like, we're throwing this shit in the garbage, man.
But how cool is that? You went from St. Ides and all this trash to your own martini, dude.
Gatsby bottle here.
Exactly. That's so cool, man.
Hey, a pleasure, man. Hey, we got to catch up again soon. Let's not be strangers, man.
Yeah, for sure. And, you guys were very gracious at the beginning talking about how we are OGs, but I've always thought of you guys the same. I've been seeing, this is long overdue. I've been seeing Covino and Rich, for a long time now, especially here in the New York scene. So, you guys have done a great job as well. I'd love to stay connected.
Hell yeah,
absolutely,
man.
brother. Hey,
thank you so much.
KFC, Kevin Clancy on OverPromised.
Yeah.
And hey, listen, you'll hear a bunch of this on Fox Sports Radio this week. And hey, we'll see you tomorrow. Until then, arrivederci, baby.
See you in the OverPromised land.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Kevin.
God, man. Thank you, guys.